finest leather for you. Anybody else did that? No? Okay. I'm an actor, but first and foremost, I'm a cinephile. And it kind of all started for me when I worked as a video store clerk in my teenage years. And 20 years later, I still get just as excited, like a nerdy film kid, when a new, clear, unique, confident voice emerges in cinema, and that is exactly how I felt when I saw Pillion a few weeks ago. It is provocative, no holds barred filmmaking, holds with the dirty minds. But it's also surprisingly funny and lighthearted and moving and tender. And I'm sure that you'll experience all of that too. So it is my pleasure to invite the new voice in question, the director and writer of Pillion, Lighton.
It sounds like it might be all.
There you go.
Thank you very much. Hi guys, I'm Harry. I'm ashamed I didn't get the leather memo. We've sort of slightly overdone wearing leather on this tour, but it's nice to see that we've got you guys and you wear it better than me, so thank you. I'm a Brit, you probably tell. Jesus. That's an aggressive reaction to saying you're British. But I am a Brit, so Heath Rivalry has only just come out in England. I'm late to the party, but my God, wow. And I actually, before I wanted to be a filmmaker, I wanted to be a footballer, and I played sort of for an academy in England until I was 16, so it was kind of trippy watching it. And because I'm late to the party, I'm only on episode 5, and I was watching it this morning on the treadmill, and I had to get off and sit down.
It's about you tonight. It's not you.
I'll get to me. Anyway, my point is, I had to sit down, and I was crying in the hotel gym, freaking everyone out. And I thought like, wow, Pillion's going to play in America tonight, and you know, I made Pillion because I wanted it to connect with people. I want, you know, my films to kind of make people laugh, but also maybe cry, and also horny, and yeah, watching Heated Rivalry has done all of that for me. So it's an honour to have you introduce the screening, and we're going to chat later. So you know, I prefer not to say anything about the film and just let you guys enjoy it. But have a great screening, and I'll see you on the other side. Thank you very much.
Everybody's skating. That's a good sign. Well, please welcome Lighton. Everybody. And the two stars of the movie, Melling and Alexander Skarsgård. Thanks for joining us. So the movie is based on a book called Box Hill by Adam Mars Jones. How did you come across it? What sparked your interest? Why did you want to turn it into a movie? What liberties did you take? All that.
That's it. I spent sort of most of my 20s writing a film about sumo wrestling, and then the pandemic happened, and it was set in Tokyo because there's not much sumo wrestling in London, and I was kind of panicking, and then sort of Julie Yates, who's the head of film at BBC, she sent me Box Hill and just had a note saying, I think you'll like it, and you know, the book is filthy. I read the book, so it's a bit weird to me that it's head of the BBC and being I think you'll like this.
How well does she know you?
Pretty well, apparently. You know, I loved it, and I just thought that the book was very unique in its tone. It had this of the subject matter I was interested in. I made a couple of shorts about like transgressive sex in some capacity, but it was the tone of the book really which like seized me. It would move from like sentence to sentence between comedy and sincerity, and then like shock you, but then hold you the next sentence, and it was all written from the first person. So it seemed like it would be an interesting challenge to try and translate Colin's voice from the book into a visual form. Um, and then the adaptation started, and it was like a lengthy process. It's about 5 years, and I'm quite a sort of it's like indecisive writer maybe, or like the positive way of framing it would be experimental, but like
You played around with the time period, I hear?
yeah, I did the first version was in ancient Rome, and it was set up in a gladiator school, and yeah.
Is that where the book is set?
No, the book set in the 1970s in the world of like gay bikers and
Are you familiar with that subculture? Is that something you were already familiar with?
I was not familiar with biking. I was sort of familiar with like the wrestling subculture in the UK, which is probably why like in ancient Rome appeals to me, or like gladiators appeals to me on some level. But then then I moved it to my producer said ancient Rome on the side ridiculous, so gave me up a chance and I moved it to a cruise ship in the present day, and that was interesting. The power dynamics of a cruise ship I think played quite nicely into it, but I then found out that you have to pay a cruise ship like £1 million and a year in advance of shooting just to get on board, which on this film's budget wasn't feasible. And so then, like, begrudgingly, I returned to the world of the book, but then kind of fell in love with baking, and from that point, the adaptation came quite quickly.
I feel like the film is now part of a canon of, BDSM power dynamics in cinema. Like I'm thinking of like Mike Long as a piano teacher, or even recently like Baby Girl. How do you feel? Is this movie for you in conversation with those other films, or where does it fit? Is the fact that it's queer like inherently different for you, or?
No, I mean, I think it's interesting. I've seen the piano teacher and like loved it, and I guess it's in conversation with that film probably in terms of like what tone I didn't want the film to be. Like the Dark Piano teacher, but it's not exactly hugging the audience, And I actually think it's kind of queer as well, piano teacher. Like it's not even as queer or anything, but I knew that was a bit cold for me. Weirdly, the films which were like more a kind of influence on the film had less to do with BDSM and more to do with tone and like sort of obviously it's like voice and grommet, and there's a French film called I don't know if French title, but in English it's called The Triplets of Belleville. And that's kind of kinky. I remember seeing a scene in that where like Granny is.
I'm going to kinky. But speaking of tone, I feel like that's the one thing I admire most in so many filmmakers, like being able to get everybody to be in the same movie. And I'm wondering like how you guys felt about that. Like was the tone of this film obvious from the script itself, or is that something that you worked on in rehearsal or in your conversations with Harry or together, wrestling?
It was very much in the script, I would say. I was quite surprised when I started reading it, knowing that it was going to be a world set in the world of kinky gay bikers, BDSM, self-dom. I was surprised that it was so funny and it was so tender and so sweet and so awkward. So that was very clear that Harry wanted that kind of balance of not shy away from the intensity of it and have it kind of explicit and wild and crazy and sexy, but also kind of allow you to be awkward and allow you not to kind of polish it. And so that was very clear, both in the screenplay and in our first conversation. So I can't say that it was like a revelation on set. Like, oh wow, we're making it. This is going a different direction from what I expected. It was very much in line with that. What would you say there?
Yeah. And in terms of rehearsal, we didn't have much rehearsal at all. Very much it was found in the actual doing of it on that day when the camera was going.
Did you get to go for coffee or something before? Like, did you eat?
So we wrestled the first time I met.
That's true. Yeah, it's true. So yeah, we had a wrestling rehearsal, and that was the first time we met. And we were filming on that was on Sunday, and the Monday was our first day on set. So it was bish bash bosh. Here we go.
But out of necessity, because we can't have that, we shot. It's chopped up in the movie, but that we shot that wrestling scene was like a one long, continuous 10-minute take. So we kind of had to practice it, but also kind of a great way to get to know someone. Like, because any kind of nervousness or awkwardness, like once you're naked or walking around on a mat, like really get to know each other.
Yeah.
Did you guys read the book?
Yeah.
You don't have to say yes.
I did. I'm not lying. I did. I read it quite quickly after reading the script, actually, just because I thought that's the good thing to do. That's what actors should do. So I did it. And it was really interesting. It was different, actually. It was very different. I think the tone of the book is. It's in the first person narrative, so in Colin's head, which is obviously useful playing going to play Colin. But I'd say the film I think it's probably warmer in tone than the book. The book is funny, very funny, but the humor is like, it's somewhat different. It's not as embracing as I think the movie that Harry's made is. But yeah, it was super useful and a good thing to sort of have in the back of your head as you're trying to work out and build the character.
Yeah, the movie kind of has a very classic rom-com structure. Is there any? Did you draw any inspiration from that kind of film at all, or were your cinematic influences for this piece in particular?
I mean, I definitely did like the first Bridget Jones, like it was at Christmas and it ends at Christmas, and that framing felt I just love that film as well. So that's been like the big inspiration on everything. But what I kind of was more interested in was looking at where a relationship like this between Colin and Rain would fit into kind of typical rom-com tropes and where it would like butt heads with them. And so, there's things like taking your partner around for dinner, your new boyfriend around for dinner, which like it's a tried and tested scene in a rom-com, but if you're bringing your partner around who's like a dom who doesn't tell you his last name, it's gonna chafe a little bit. So there was like interest I thought to be had in testing it against the rom-com and seeing where it like failed or surpassed it.
Yeah, the day off scene was a lot of fun because I think in those sort of sequences we definitely lean into like those tropes that might feel familiar to an audience, and again where those scenes end up is a very different place to where maybe your usual rom-com would end up. So all that stuff was really exciting to sort of subvert and play with, really.
Should we open it up to the audience for a few questions? Okay. Do I pass the mic around? Do we have loud voices? Theater trained actors? Here.
Hi there. Thank you so much for coming here. Thanks. Thanks for coming, guys. Very much appreciate it. The movie was beautiful, made me cry a bit. My question is, during some of those awkward moments where he is kind of trying to assert himself, because he had that talk with the other person who said, I made it a point that I want to have a kiss every once in a while, and he sees that and he wants to start to ask more from Ray. What was the sort of reactions that you both had, like going through that? Was it just on point, or did you guys practice over time for that? Because it was very beautiful and heartbreaking at times, because you could totally see that there is a connection between the two, but they slowly sort of like can't connect at that point. It was very hard.
Thank you. Yeah, I think I think as the story progresses, Colin realizes that he wants more from the relationship, and he starts to understand what this dynamic means to him. Because when we first meet him and he's entering this dynamic, he is completely ignorant to it. He knows it feels right. He knows there's something in this for him, and he knows how he feels about Ray. But I think in terms of understanding the sort of boundaries and parameters of how this relationship might work for me, he doesn't know that yet. And so I think in that third act, say, when he starts to challenge the boundaries that Ray has established very early on, I think he is very much sort of finding his way, which is when I read it, I found that incredibly moving. Someone is brave enough to challenge that and to sort of fight for that. I'm glad that came through. It's great.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you.
You want to give it to?
Oh, you do.
Thanks. A wonderful film. My favorite scene was the dinner scene where finally his character is really being challenged and pushed back on. How fun was working on that scene with a beautiful mother's theme when the mother actually stood up to Alexander.
Oh, it was one of my favorite scenes to shoot. Absolutely. I thought it was constructed in a great way. I thought it was, because reading it, I could understand where they're both coming from, and that made it feel not contrived. It didn't feel like a forced conflict. It felt real. I can absolutely understand Peggy's concerns, and that she's uncomfortable with this, seeing how her son behaves. But I also understand Ray. It was like, well, like he says in the scene, just because you're uncomfortable doesn't mean it's not right for your son. He's an adult, and he's in this, it's a consensual relationship, so don't judge him for it. And so to me, that made it feel real, and again, like, it wasn't, and it's been really interesting talking to people about that scene after screenings. I've been to a bunch of film festivals and how people interpret it, and that it's been so engaging to people. That means a lot. And also a great scene to shoot, because they're both fantastic actors, so it was fun to kind of open it up a bit and work with it. It was also like our second day? My second day, yeah. So it was very early on to kind of start with a big one. But because we had to shoot those guys out, our last day on that location, so it was, a tough one to start with, but also an incredible day. Really fun.
Do I get to pick, or
Hi.
Oh, sorry.
I was wondering, what was the decision when Ray decided to leave and he didn't release Colin from his collar and lock? Was that like a punishment, or just, I don't know? Yeah.
Well, it's nice it didn't with the shirt for a reason, so that the audience would be left with imagination rather than facts. But I think you could read cruelty into it that he hasn't given Colin back the key, or you could read that he's given Colin back the key and Colin hasn't let go yet, so he's refusing to uncollar himself. I think it's interesting, speaking to guys and girls who are collared part of the community. It's such an individual thing in terms of like how a collar's put on, taken off, and I think sometimes when you depict that kind of action on screen, then it can alienate the people who have a specific way of doing it. So sometimes it's, in my opinion, I prefer to kind of leave it off screen and then let it exist in the imagination.
Sorry, I'm going as fast as I should.
No, down here.
I just want to say thank you to Miss Queen for running across the theater. You're doing amazing. My question is specific for Harry Lighton. When writing the script, you said it took a long amount of time, years. Throughout that process, what was the input like from local BDSM biker gangs? We see, Ray's friends hanging around, and those parts of the movie really interested me. Seeing those scenes of them all hanging out together. Sorry, it was a shitty name. I'm speaking here. But yeah, what was it like? What was the influence of those learning and having those conversations with those people?
Yeah, I mean, it was vital. I think in the early stages of the writing, I would meet up with people in kind of built-up relationships of varying degrees of strictness and just intervene them and kind of put stuff into the script. And I wanted to have a real understanding of the variety of which exists in fact, so that then when I was turning it into fiction, I could have that as like a kind of benchmark. But the most useful thing was that as we got closer to shooting, I went and spent a weekend with this group called GBMCC, who are the gay biker motorcycle club. Very hard to remember the acronym, but what they are is like the biggest gay motorcycle club in Britain. And I spent initially just a weekend riding Pillion with them and chatting to them about their experiences. But then, off the back of that, sort of cast them also, all the guys in the film in the bike club are from either that group or they're from the London King scene, other than these two guys and Jay Shears, who's in his sisters. And they would then have a big input into their character and the depiction of the group as a whole, and inputs into the sex scenes and all sorts. And one of them took Harry on a trip, which you can speak about, but they were essential.
Yeah, excuse me. I learned how to lick a boot successfully. Yeah.
Good boy.
Yeah, only to do it very badly in the movie, so obviously didn't learn much. But yeah, they're amazing and so generous with their time and offering their experiences, and it was amazing that, because I think when we all signed up, we weren't quite sure where the casting was going for the sort of Pillions and then bikers, and when Harry said that he was going to cast the GBMCC members and London King scene members, I thought, that's such a neat, sensible, brilliant idea, because just having them on set every day was incredible. And then seeing their reaction to the movie was also an incredible moment for all of us, I think. So yeah, they were pivotal, I think.
Well, thank you so much for coming. It's a beautiful film. It's irreverent, tender. I loved it. Tell all your friends if you did. And it's great to see it.
Good luck on all the batches. For all the batches. If I were a voting member, you'd have my vote. But